can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free.
Happy Friday. Good to be back at Todd Fathers, the Sultan of correct picks, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. We got to give you something else. I just started thinking on the fly here.
MVP,
what can we call?
That's all.
What can we call Todd Father? The
MVP.
Ohtani of locks.
Oh,
You like that?
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, Ohtani wishes he could do what Todd does.
Love it.
Wait. Too soon.
We'll get there. One other thing before we dive into the headliner. What were hangover games like?
Excuse me.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, they were terrible.
When you clinch something and then you have to play a ball game the next day. There was a lot of that, right?
It was terrible.
A lot of coughing, a lot of water.
Oh, baby, excuse me.
Water is good, folks. If you're of age and you
Yes.
had a night, water is usually good for you.
Excuse me. Hangover games are the worst.
They are, right?
Go ahead.
I got you. I mean, he got emotional on me, Kratz. What was your hangover? Well, did you play? Like, for example, what was it, 18? Did you play the next day after you guys clinched the playoffs with the Brewers?
We're still going for the division. We just clinched a playoff spot. You got it. You just got to suck it up. There's no such, I don't know. I think there's a hangover game when you clinch a playoff spot. You played 153 games to get to this point. Like, you've put everything into it. You're actually a little more, in my opinion, I was a little more energized. I was 38 years old at that point too. So if anybody's going to feel it, I assumed it would be me, but nope. Like, you're more energized because you're like, we already are in the playoffs. Now we're playing with house money. Let's go harder.
I don't think this is a thing, but I think it should be a thing. Even if, you're not having endless amounts of beverages. You're having some beverages, right? After you clinch. Why don't they get one of those IV drips like they do at some of the bachelor parties and just run it down the line?
Well, you're going to need a bunch of them for one. For
They
two.
do.
They do that?
Yeah.
There's dudes in the clubhouse with IV drips afterwards. The guys who are soft that need it.
Well, you call me soft all you want. I'm taking that.
I'm trying to hit a homer the next day. Sorry about it.
Yeah, you're enjoying some drinks. I mean, It's exciting times. You're pouring champagne, beer, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You might even go out that night, so. And then you think about it. It's like, should we have done it right now or should we have done it once we clinch? But there's no good time. You do it. Once you clinch, you do it.
You got to do it each time, right?
And I think that's understandable.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
And it was on the road. So the Cuckoos are very happy about that whole situation.
Oh, you're talking about the Yanks.
Yeah.
And when you say that, he's talking about the clubhouse, the longtime legacy bloodline clubhouse attendance at Yankee Stadium.
Oh, there's nothing worse than coming in the next day. Even if you shampoo the carpets, which I know they all do, the drip from the ceiling still there, and it's just like, the smell.
You smell it good.
The smell of winning.
It is. It is. It's the smell of victory
Todd,
and champagne.
How small did they make the Yankees clubhouse when we clinched?
They tightened
Yankee Stadium. It was like tight, boom, sprayed it. Hey, where's the rest? Media comes right in. I'm like,
right in.
What? Driest celebration ever. Needed it on the road.
They said win more.
Yeah, fair. As the celebrations went on, the bottles got bigger with the Yankees. Let's put it that way.
That's what I like.
No, it did.
Yeah, you get Magnum status if you win it all. So let's go over some contenders, but we're going to start with the history tonight. We charge the mound. Shohei Ohtani wanted everyone to know that he could make it to 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases. So he decided to have one of the best games of his life during that time period where he went 6 for 6. He homered 3 times. He drove in a casual 10, scored 4 times, stole 2 bases. There it is. Update that Ohtani tracker, baby. You know what else he did? He won some people some cash. I'm not talking about betting. I'm talking about fantasy baseball. It's fantasy baseball playoffs right now. I was thinking about so many different things. I'm like, Kratz had a great line on his video last night saying how he's casually rehabbing his pitching injury as well, so he's going to pitch sometime, right? He's making $2 million this year. There's people in their fantasy baseball playoffs right now that just won their league
because
thanks
of
to that
one game. And you know what's funny? We're not going to count the last at bat. No, I'm just kidding. I know he hit a homer
Against
off
Braun.
a position player.
Yeah.
Listen, you take whatever you can get, and that was an absolute moonshot. I was thinking in my mind, it's like, I know he got the steals. I'm like, is he going to do it? Is there going to be too much pressure? He said, you know what? There's no pressure from me. I go out there and I dominate. It's like Kratz in Little League when he was 12. He was the same size he was. It didn't matter who was throwing. He dropped biscuits left and right. Shohei Ohtani, MVP for the National League. Put it away. Ballot closed.
Best player ever?
He's got to be in talks right now. If not, yes. I mean, here's the thing. I always love Michael. I love Michael Jordan over LeBron James. You know, that's something people know me. I will write it online and do whatever. But the thing Michael Jordan said was, I can't disrespect the people I didn't play against. So, in my opinion, do I think he's the best? Yes, because I've seen him play. Like I know the numbers on like a Mickey Mantle or a Babe Ruth or, you know, just to name a couple guys. I'm not sure. I would say yes because it's the best thing I've ever seen. I would say yes because the numbers he's put up, and he's not even pitching yet. So I just want him to stay healthy and have a fantastic career, and we can easily say he's the best player to ever do it.
Yeah, I don't see. He's a unicorn. He's a unicorn, and Phil Plantier, the great Phil Plantier, I want him to come on the show and talk about Shohei. He was the assistant coach last year. He can't come on the show and talk about it. But he told me last year, he said when he got hurt, he said based on how he goes about his business, the way that he learns and makes adjustments to be able to hit balls in different areas of the zone, to be able to approach different types of pitchers against him. He's like, without pitching, he could have an historic season next year. And he said on my text, he goes, might even be 50 homers. But like what we're seeing, like we can't dumb this down. We can't stop giving him the MVP. Because let's say he goes in 3 years, he goes 275, 35, 90, and wins 13 games. Kind of a mid season for him. He should still win the MVP. He is the most valuable player. He is the best player of our generation. Is this still our generation, Todd? I'm not sure. But
yes, sir.
Right now, he is the best player. What he is doing is dominating the game. If I played like this in Little League, I would have had the career that Todd had. I played like this in college. Big difference.
Insane. And then, of course, you got a little history with this dinger. Well, not this one, but the next one, right?
Oh,
That's just a double.
We could have had 4.
Yeah, that was the double. That was the stolen bag.
Oh, just a tough tag there. He should have been out
He
there.
was beat.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
With the slide.
The slide did it. Then eventually we get the historic
Todd
home
stolen
run.
base right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll take a dozen.
But here we go.
This guy was just incredible, man. Yesterday
Dub.
might have been the best performance in a game from anybody. That's got
Best I've ever seen.
Ever?
Well, yeah, you're old too. No, but seriously, the best game ever.
Best one game ever.
It's got to be.
This was what I was waiting for. So that goes into the club.
Imagine being in there, dancing, having a drink. Boom, pops in your cup. Oh, cool. Throw it back.
Pops in your cup. You go, cool, $1 million.
He pick
Thank
up the
you.
ball. You're like, look at mom.
Right, like you're having a time
doing
there.
the rave and stuff.
You're not paying attention.
They used to have topless dancers out there when they first opened the stadium.
Here,
They-
give this
they
to your
had a lot
kid. I
going
don't want
on.
it. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. No, well, you know what happens? They go, oh, would you like to give that ball back to the hundreds of millions dollar man, the billionaire, semi-billionaire, Shohei Ohtani? And the guy goes, oh, no, thanks. I actually would like to keep this. If he would like to buy it from me, he can call me.
Easily.
Yeah, they don't authenticate the baseballs for you anymore post history, but
Yeah.
they do it pre-history for an event like this. So just like Judge's baseballs from a couple years ago, this baseball was already a special ball that has a number on it, so you know which one it is. The point was from earlier in the year, remember he hit the first homer and they gave the ball back, felt like they got ripped off, and also it sounds like they don't authenticate baseballs if they're just regular baseballs for you anymore, unless you get MLB and the teams involved, which is so Bush League.
Once
But
the ball goes in the stands,
it's up to you.
no, they'll never authenticate it.
That's Bush.
I find it, with all video evidence nowadays, I find that disturbing a little bit.
It's
Not
very
disturbing,
disturbing.
just like upsetting. Like if I was to catch, Kratz's 100th home run ball, and he wanted to get authentic, we can't authenticate that because it bounced 5 times in the stands. The guy got it and raised it up, and you saw where the ball went. Like, that's the ball, dude. Just authenticate
It's
the
the
darn
ball.
thing.
Yeah. I think they
So-
do it if you give it to them, but if
Yeah.
you don't, they don't, which is
Yeah.
weird. But anyway, for these, the baseball gets marked. So we
Yeah.
know whoever got it has the real baseball.
There was
So,
one other guy that went 6 for 6 too, 4 home runs. Can you name him?
was it Sean Green?
Close. He was a lefty. Kratzy?
Josh Hamilton.
Dude, spot on. Yes.
Nice.
He
4
didn't even take
home runs.
BP. Didn't even take BP on the field that day either. He hit in the cage.
That's even better.
Crazy. So how much for that baseball?
Excuse me, 5 for 5, not 6 for 6.
Oh,
That's
5
on
for
me.
5.
I don't know
Big
why.
difference.
8 RBIs, but still,
How much for that baseball? Judges in 22 went for $1.5 million, but that was for the home run
yeah,
record, essentially, right? McGuire back in the day went for $3 million.
Yeah,
70.
I'm saying 6 figures for sure.
It's not 70.
If I had the money like Steve Cohen has, I would spend 150 on it.
I think Ohtani should buy it. I thought Ohtani at post game should have just said $1 million right now. You don't have to go through the whole process. You don't
No,
have to get
forget $1 million. That's too much.
too much.
Unless
Nope.
it's what it's worth for you.
If I'm Shohei, I'm donating my cleats to the Hall of Fame. I want every one of those bases, including home plate. I'm putting
Yeah.
a big old display in the house. Somebody, I tweeted before I did my reaction tweet. I just tweeted 50 homers, 50 stolen bases. That's the tweet. Like, that's it. I just put that out there, and some dude responded to me, "Your career numbers," and I was like,
Awesome.
if that was my career, I'd have had an awesome career. I would have taken that.
You're right. Sean Green also. Big Derek's on it today. 6 for 6, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs.
There you go.
You were right. I apologize.
There you go. I thought I saw it somewhere.
That's a dream.
That's a 6.
That's where you
This
can
is the
take a
best
month
game.
off and say it don't matter.
Best
I got
game
two more things.
ever.
Yes. So
Best
two
game
more
ever.
things. One, to have your best game ever, you need to beat up on a team that's choosing to pitch to you. And Skip
Yeah.
Schumacher, at one point, did you see it?
Love it.
He was like, bleep it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
And
You saw
that's
that?
my guy. And from knowing and playing with Skip,
Yeah.
he wouldn't want it any other way. So I respect him. I mean, listen, it's the right thing to do. You're down 9-1 or whatever the
Play the
score
game.
was. Play the game. And you're not no chance of making the playoffs. Groove him one. Go ahead. See what he's got. What the hell?
No,
Couldn't
don't
happen.
groove him.
Not groove him one. You don't
No, like
just go after him, right?
yeah, I
You're
should have
not-
said groove him. Sorry.
Groove
That's
is
what
looked at as like,
Yeah. Sorry.
give him one.
Yeah,
But
you're
I know
right.
what you're saying.
No, I apologize for saying groove him, but here it is. Here's my hardest fastball. Come get it.
Yeah.
You want
Yep.
some? Come get some.
I like
Little
that.
pup.
Okay.
All right.
So lastly, guys, let's finish with this. Freezing cold takes, old takes exposed on Twitter. Put this one out there from the Sporting News, like whatever it is, 7 years ago. It's from an article that says MLB scouts believe Shohei Ohtani won't be able to hit big league pitching. This was when he was first
Wow.
coming up to the show. And the quote was, he's basically like a high school hitter.
Oof. Who wrote that? I would love to see.
I don't know. We got to find out. Well, it's not even about who wrote it. It's about the scout who
that's what I
anonymously
mean.
just crushed his name. Look how he looks like a kid there. He looks,
He does. He looks like a 15-year-old.
yeah. I mean, he's a man now, but
Love it.
they were not buying it, or that one person was not buying it. And he
Well,
just
we got to
decided,
go
hey,
back to the Sporting News.
yeah,
That's a trash take. Because I saw him when he was 19. I saw him in the wild playing. We played against him. He
Yep.
was not a high school hitter. He was not like that swing played. He
Without a
was
doubt.
awesome.
yep, there you go. So, hey, let's ask some others around the sport about him and what's going on in their lives. So we'll start with Matthew Boyd from the Guardians, joining us next on FT. What'd you do today? I saw you.
I
We walked in. You said, "Hey,
I finally got my
Huel."
Huel. Got it right
Bottle's
here.
nice,
Oh,
right?
it's real nice, and it's like it's full too to the brim. So these
Yeah.
things are good, man. They're nice. If you need something quick and you don't have time to make some food, here it is, baby. Ready to drink meal.
Perfectly
Yeah,
stated.
shake it up and
Yeah.
ready to rock.
You're right. It's filled to the top.
Yeah,
You're
it
not
is.
getting shorted.
It's got some girth to it.
It does.
Like this is gonna make you feel good, and it
Yeah.
does. It's very good tasting too.
It's a nice size. What's the size on this one? How many fluid? 16.9.
Yeah,
That's nice.
give it
Right
to me.
there. Yeah. A little vanilla. There you go. Kratz. That's it. You're just our model today.
It's a model. I'm
You want
not
me
even
to-
hungry.
you want me to
I already
tell the
had
world?
one of these.
Right. Exactly.
They fill you up too.
FT brought to you by Huel, the world's #1 complete nutrition brand. Okay. And they taste amazing. They're low sugar, high protein meals starting at just $2.50. It's a budget friendly option. Obviously, we're excited about it. You got your protein, you got 27 vitamins and minerals all in that bottle. So go check it out. Join the Hooligans. Kratz like that with the exclusive offer. 15% off with the code FOUL, FOUL, at Huel.com. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters. Here we go. The great Matthew Boyd from the Guardians joining us right now on FT. Good to see you, man. How's everything?
It's going good. It's going good, man. How you guys doing?
We're great. I mean, obviously, it's a historic day. I mean, we had planned to have you on a few days ago. So I'm excited to get your take on this. Of course, we'll get to you. We'll get to the guards. But where were you when Shohei Ohtani did what he did? And what was it like for the team when they all talked about it and saw the news?
I'm going to be honest. Middle of a flight and, post celebration poker game. So a lot of guys didn't really catch on to everything till maybe about an hour after we landed and came to our senses. But, man, it's amazing. I mean, he's such an amazing talent. Obviously, what he can do on the mound and at the plate, and then you see what he can do this year with just, making an impact on the bases as well as just hitting for amazing power and average. He's just a special ball player, and it's really cool to see him do that and, redefine what's possible in this game.
I have a couple like quick hitters real quick. So did you take any money home from that poker game or no?
No, I did not.
Oh.
I got to say, I was on the periphery. I was outside looking in.
Okay. You're one of those guys. All right, I got you.
I learned my lesson on the poker games early on in my Tigers career with some of those teams. So I'm a quiet observer now, or maybe not so quiet observer. Yeah.
You're the one that's like, let me just take a peek, and you take a peek, and everybody's looking at you like,
exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Have you faced Shohei Ohtani before?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I guess you'd have to get into detail, but what as a pitcher, what are you trying? Like, what pitch is your best pitch to him without saying what you would throw to him? Because that's a real answer, a question I want for you. Like, how do you get this guy out? That would be my real question as a pitcher.
He's hard to get out. I mean, he went 1 for 3 off me this year with hitting one the highest, hardest home run I think I've ever seen. He hit the thing straight up, 117 miles per hour. You know, it was like, I mean, you got to pitch, right? I'm a lefty, right? So it's left on left, but it's, you know, it's usually I like to think I have the advantages in those at bats, right? And just for the sake that it's a lot of guys don't see lefties nearly as often as they see righties, but I mean, you can't just, you know, lean on what you normally would do. You have to. He can cover the outside. He can hit a ball. He can hit a fastball away out. He can get a slider away out. You got to just continue to go pitch for pitch with him and, you know, get creative because, I mean, he's talented. You know, you'll see him hit balls out any part of the zone, and it's, you know, multiple pitches. I mean, he's well-rounded, man. You got to get creative when you face him.
All right. Do you remember filling out your award last year? Do you remember the end of the season filling out your awards, like the MLB Player Awards?
Yeah, gosh, vaguely. I think I was in a thing at that time, but yeah, what you got?
Do you know who you voted for as Player of the Year? Like the best Major League Baseball Players Awards is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The Player of the Year over both leagues. Do you remember?
The Player's Choice, by the way, just for anyone.
Player's Choice. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what they call them.
I gotta say, I can't remember, but I will say this: if it was Shohei, I saw the most amazing thing last year when he went doubleheader against us, CG in the first game, and then I think he hit 2 bombs in the second game, single-handedly beat us, you know, over the course of 2 games in one day. So I wouldn't be surprised if I put him. But why? Do you have what I put on there?
No, I don't, because it's anonymous. You hand it in and you don't. But I had this argument at the end of the season when we did the Players' Choice Awards. We announced them on here. And you players, you active players, chose Ronald Acuña as the Player of the Year over Shohei Ohtani. And I had this argument with every player. So now we're going to fast forward. He didn't pitch this year, so his life is super easy. All he's done is gone 50-50. Can you solidify it right now for us as a current active player in the big leagues? Shohei Ohtani is the best player in the game right now? Yes or no?
I mean, yeah, he is. I mean, you can't argue that. It's like I don't want to do a disservice to anybody else out there who's doing that. I mean, who would be the top 3? I'm on the spot right now.
Well, bring us all in here for a sec, Gab. So this is interesting. It's a good call here from Kratz. So the part that makes the Players' Choice Award Player of the Year so interesting is it's including everyone. We usually talk AL and NL, right? So in the American League this year, early on, Gunnar Henderson was involved. Now it's Judge and it's Witt. And most people have looked at it as Judge 1, he's playing center field. He's also having a borderline historic season. And Witt 2, there is an argument from some about Witt's insane defense and what he's done with the Royals, right? Other side, it's Ohtani. There's been some others like Ketel Marte, etc., but it's really Ohtani and Francisco Lindor, who's day-to-day right now with an injury, but he's been sick. And again, you're dealing with a shortstop here who's playing every day at a defensive position that's elite in the game. So anyway, not who's the best player in the sport, Kratz. I'm going to correct you. Who is having the best season? Who is the Player of the Year this year in Major League Baseball when everyone votes? It's a good call.
You can put Jose Ramirez in there too. He's your teammate. Jose Ramirez is almost 40-40. So those are your 5.
Yeah, Josie's amazing. Josie's I mean, I'm biased because I'm in AL Central and I think he's got like a 290 average with like a 1,000 OPS off me in his career. He's one of the hardest outs in the league, and every year he just posts. He does everything, you know. So I'm biased to that. I mean, I think what Shohei's doing is amazing, you know. I mean, how long was Mookie out for this year too? Like
too long. He was early.
Yeah, he was
an early candidate.
I mean, Shohei was doing, you know, and you have Freddie, and that's a really good lineup top to bottom. But like, he was doing a lot of things. Pete, it's hard. I gotta go Shohei. You know, and that's no knock on Judge. I mean, what he does night out, it's equally impressive. And I'd say probably both those guys. Bobby Witt's an amazing talent. You know, I'm not trying to give any, you know, bulletin board material for anybody here.
That's fair.
But, I mean, you know, Francisco Lindor, obviously, I haven't been paying much attention to the National League, but he can play all facets of the game. Bobby Witt's really good, man. I mean, his defense is amazing. His at bats are amazing. He's always a threat to steal as well. It's like you can't go wrong with any of those guys. But what Shohei is doing this year, and with on the bases and at the plate, I think it's redefining. He continues to redefine like what you can do in this game, and reimagine it, and kind of open people's eyes to it. And it's amazing to see.
Do you think it matters that he's only a DH this year, or do players still respect the fact that the season's so insane and so historic that it overrules Judge in center field and Lindor and Witt playing shortstop, stuff like that? That's where the argument comes in. It has nothing to do with him. I mean, we talked to Andrew Jones the other day, and he's like, oh, he'd be one of the best outfielders defensively too. He's like, I've seen him play outfield. He's nasty.
Yeah. No, you gotta value the defense. I mean, you can't not value part of the game. That's even a greater argument, right? Is like defense is so important. Having the well-rounded aspect of the game is, it can't be overlooked, right? So, it's like he's stealing bases. The other guys are playing defense and not stealing as many bases, and the argument fluctuates there. I think you got to weigh it, but what he's doing is so impressive, man. That wouldn't be surprised if he is the player's choice wise player of the year.
All right, well, let's get to the Cleveland Guardians now. Anything in the room still smell like champagne?
I'm sure it does. I mean, it's so special to get to do that. Like I spent 8 years, right, with the Tigers. And like my second year we came close, and it was the first time they hadn't made it in a while, and you kind of like assumed, oh, we'll be back next year, right? And then halfway through the season it got torn down, and I didn't get to celebrate until 2022 when you get to Seattle, and it makes you so grateful for each of those opportunities, and man, it was so fun. It was so cool to obviously this group is amazing. It's such a great group of guys. Just not only like good ball players, but good people all the way around. I mean, I got to come in June and the end of June, and they made me feel welcome within a day in that clubhouse, and that's special. That doesn't happen everywhere. I'm also so happy for Voter, what he did this year, and he's continuing to do. The job is not done by any means, but man, you would not know walking in that it's his first year managing. He just understands it so well. Like, he understands what it's like to be in our shoes, and he's just such a great communicator, and he's the same guy every day, and he cares about the person. And I feel so fortunate to get to play for him in this ball club, and man, hopefully, get to have multiple more champagne celebrations here, over the coming weeks.
Yeah, it's been a strong year for the team. And then, you caught on getting back on the field here over the last, what's it been, maybe month and a half-ish. So how do you sum up what the past really 6 months has been like for you?
Crazy. I mean, I was coaching some amateur little league t-ball and softball, in April and early March, while the boys were all in spring training, right? Saying like, when the calendar turns, right? Like, we didn't get the right offer this year. Didn't get a major league offer. Let's just be honest, right? And my agent, Scott, was like, "Hey, our best offer is gonna come in the season." So you go, okay, like, we'll stay the course. We have a good rehab group around us. We're doing what we need to. Dr. Meister is continually involved. Like, we're solid. We'll do this. But you see people report, and you go, man, this is different. You see opening day roll around, and you're going, okay, like, I'm sticking to the plan, but man, this is a little scary. There's that little fear aspect of like, just whatever it may be. But some cool things got to happen. I got to be around with my kids, and my family every single day, wake up with them, put them to bed, spend so much time with my wife. Like, it was amazing. And we got to coach, like I said, I got to coach t-ball and softball, and that was unique. And you're sitting there just watching baseball, and you're going, man, I do believe I'm going to be on a winning team. I do believe this is, my best baseball's ahead of me. But right now there is nothing in the windshield, if you will, right? Like this is another day of rehab, another day of whatnot. So getting to be where I am today, I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude, and that I get to be part of this team, man, and get to be taking the ball tomorrow. It's just I'm grateful, man.
So how did it come about? Were you watching teams and like, hey Scott, why don't you call the Guardians? I see they're down to like 3.5 starters right now. Or like, do they call you? What day did it happen? How fast did it turn around?
Yeah. So we waited until I got to the very end of my like bullpen phase, right before facing hitters. So basically, I think what was like one of my last 55 pitch bullpens in the Tommy John rehab. We went down to California through a showcase at UCLA, and I'm so thankful. 18 teams showed up, and there was a lot of interest right from the get go. It was like a Friday. Went back home. Teams were starting to call. And then over the course of the next week, it was, offers started coming in and let Scott do his thing. But it was one of those things where it was like, I was just watching baseball, right? It was kind of fun. I was just picking guys I like to watch, picking teams. And when Cleveland called and you already saw what they were doing, and in that process, I had the connections with, Albie and Kai Correa from San Francisco. I knew Stephen Kwan from the Oregon State connection, and it was like hearing these guys talk about what the team's like, and you're watching games. When they started calling, they were playing the Orioles, and it was like I just remember watching their dugout, and I was like, gosh, that looks like so much fun. And it came down to it, and it was like, I knew I wanted to be a part of it. When they called, I knew I wanted to be a part of their ball club. And it was like I was just so, again, overwhelmed with gratitude that they wanted me, right? They wanted me to start. So when those stars aligned, it was like it was an easy no-brainer. And end of June we're signing and starting a rehab assignment. So it was man, I'm saying this way too much, but just I feel so blessed to be where I am, considering how things have gone this year.
We haven't asked anybody on this show, because we haven't had anybody take this journey that you're talking about. I always feel like showcases for a big league pitcher with what you have in your career, the fact that everybody gets Tommy John surgery, like I think showcases, I think it's trash. I think if they want you, teams need Matthew Boyd because of what he's done. He's been a beast. You don't need to see him come and throw, a 60-foot, 6-inch baseball. Like, come and get me. Give me what you want. You're the guy. Like, what is that showcase like? And what were the feelings that you had in it?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, you and Todd have faced me. I'm not going to sit there and throw triple digits in
Right,
a big league
right.
much less at UCLA at 2:00 on a Friday afternoon, right? So
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to Scott about it, and I was like, Scott, what are you like? What do I need to show? And he goes, you're showing health, and that's what it is. And I essentially it was just rehabbing in the dark. No one knew about it outside of really the Tigers, because the CBA, right? They were the ones that were paying for rehab, so they were the ones constantly checking in and whatnot. So for me, it was like, okay, here we go. I'm gonna go throw my pens and show I'm healthy, show my pitches, right? And I think that was the main purpose of it. And because it's like, I'm 88 to 92 in a bullpen, on my best day. I'm not gonna sit there and rear back and throw 95 and do stuff. I don't do that in a game very much. So it was just, hey, show I'm healthy. Here's my stuff. And just kind of trusting in that, knowing that, like, hey, if a team doesn't like me because of that, it's probably not a good fit, right? Because that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go fill up the zone. I'm going to change speeds, and I'm going to pitch. That's kind of my calling card. It's not outstuffing you in the zone, right? Outstuffing you with a fastball, like, lighting up the gun. It's just pitching. So it was just trusting that process and that too, because it was nerve-wracking. My heart got going when, I felt like I was in high school again. Like, scouts are showing up, and it was like, college, and I'm like, man, you're warming up for a game and people are putting a radar gun and video cameras on you. I was like, this is, wow, I'm used, this is weird. This is getting my heart going. I'm used to pitching in stadiums and whatnot. So yeah, it was different. Cool experience though.
Little
tidbit here. I think I got my last ever triple off you. There wasn't many of them. If I recall, I got jammed to hit it to right, and the right fielder's playing in left center, so it actually worked out well for me. Thank you for that.
You were fun to face, man. You got your A swing off every time. And it was
No,
like, you throw a
baloney.
pitch, you're
Listen.
flinching up there, man. Yeah.
Hey, I'm just so glad you said that. Kratz, he's about to throw up. Anyway, I want to talk a little about Tigers a little bit. Tarek Skubal, I mean, this guy has been unbelievable. Talk about, his journey and what, how good this lefty is.
He's so good, man. He's the total package. He's not only, I mean, he works his tail off, he works so hard in the weight room. I got to watch. I've known Tarek since he was at Seattle U, because just the coach that recruited me there has always been a close friend, and he was telling me that he's like, yeah, I got my next big league pitcher. He's probably, and how he fell in the draft, just because of coming back from Tommy John surgery. I mean, it was like props to the Tigers for grabbing him, because I mean, obviously I think he was a 9th rounder or something like that, and that's 1-1 type stuff when you're watching him on the mound, right? But I watched him come back from surgery. I was his teammate since he debuted. Last year, you're watching him come back from surgery, and you're watching the work he's putting in and day out, and the belief he had in himself. I mean, the guy's an animal in the weight room. He moves so much weight. He gets after it. And then you see him go about his craft and his work, and it was just kind of that thing where it was like just the momentum you felt was just building. It's like, what he's going to do when he gets the ball back in his hand, and it's going to be special. And he is, man, just watching him do his thing this year has been really so cool. So happy for him. Great teammate, great guy, and it couldn't be happening to a better person. So, man, I'm so happy for him.
Matt, I appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on here, but I got to give you the stats so that you absolutely dominated Todd. He has a triple, a homer, and he's 2 for 17 off of you. So you dominated it.
What's his slugging?
We're not.
Yeah, tell me.
His slugging? Well, I didn't know we needed slugging. I didn't know we needed.
He called me up, man. And I love lefties too. That's embarrassing. God bless it. Let's
412 slug, 118, 211 was his on base. You owned him. Domination.
I gotta say, it didn't feel like that. Those White Sox teams are like early on were not fun to face with Avasale and Abreu and Melky.
Yep. No, they were good.
I remember one time Saltalamacchia said, "Hey man, we haven't shown him a curveball yet. Let's throw this." And in my mind, I'm thinking about your barrel path and thinking about that curve. I'm like, that's my 4th pitch at 70 miles per hour. This guy could put his foot down, wait, readjust, and then swing.
Oh man!
And it was one of those like days where the game didn't start till like 8:45 in Chicago. And I know, Joe, you hit this ball 700 feet straight up in the air. And I looked at Castellanos and I looked at Salty, and I remember they were both looking at me like, "You're going to catch this." And I was like, absolutely not. I was just thankful the thing didn't hit the Xfinity sign in left field.
Oh my goodness, dude! No, you were hard. You were tough to face.
That's
bro.
great.
You're too kind. I think Kratzy, I think you got me. I think you got me at. Yep, you know.
Ew, man, that's not right. He was waiting.
There's a big league show. We don't talk about the minor leagues, even though it's like all my highlights. Dang it!
He is our minor league legend, so he's here. But Matthew, always awesome catching up with you, man. Great to see you. Happy to see you back in the bigs and on a team that's going to play some playoff baseball. So good luck. We'll be watching. We'll catch you again soon. Okay.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, you. Matt. Great chatting with Matthew Boyd from the Guardians. Swinging right back to talk about the AL wildcard. I know some of you came here today to listen to us talk about Shohei Ohtani. We spent some good time on it at the top. We're going to obviously ask all our guests about what he's doing. But I also do want to shout out the Dodgers. I mean, we shouted out the Brewers for clinching the division, the Yankees for clinching the playoffs. Obviously, we're a daily show. We're going to do that. The Dodgers are in the playoffs. now have 12 consecutive years with postseason experience or appearances, both. And they're probably going to win the NL West as well.
Back to back. You have the Yankees clinching. Juan
Mhm.
Soto's now 25, and he's played in in the postseason with 3 different teams. And you have Shohei Ohtani, doing his 50-50 first postseason. This is why
Never seen
postseason,
him.
exactly what Boyd was just saying, postseason is something to be celebrated. It's also something to be pushed towards. And I hope this is the time of year when GMs write down in their notebooks, wow, I heard what Matthew Boyd was saying. He hasn't been back. He thought he would be back the next year. Maybe we need to push all in. Orioles. Orioles.
You okay over there? You're like me.
Yeah,
You guys
I
all
got
have
a-
that bad,
I got a
that
bad Todd cough.
that bad not all in cough, where you that bad future
Allergic.
cough.
Yeah.
Allergic to the present,
Oh
obsessed
my
with
God,
the future.
you guys are so
That's what it
bad.
sounds like. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
It's that phlegm of prospects where you just keep coughing them up, but
that
you can't really
phlegm
give
of
them out.
prospects. I like that.
Yeah,
That's my
That's
problem.
what happens.
Blah,
You, just-
blah, blah, blah.
you hug them all. But it is a great point. Shohei Ohtani has never played playoff baseball. Mike Trout has basically never played playoff baseball. He did one time a billion years ago. Okay, that's it.
Nobody remembers that.
That is one of the biggest problems with marketing. Yes, you do. They were there. That is one of the biggest problems with marketing in our sport. It's not about how do we sell this guy, and it's just the NBA is an easy example. We do comps with them all the time. The stars almost always are in the playoffs. LeBron's in the playoffs every year. Mike Trout's barely ever played in the playoffs. Shohei Ohtani has never played playoff baseball. This is going to be awesome. We're excited about it, but baseball's different. You might be on a poorly run franchise and just not get to play in the playoffs, even with the extra wild card.
Too many games, man.
But it sucks because everything is on October. Everyone watches in October. Even if your team's not involved, you want to see what's going on. Ohtani is a draw.
Yeah.
These playoffs are going to do really well when the Dodgers are playing because no one's seen him in playoff ball. All right, FT fam, back at it, and we're going to switch things up because our next guest is almost ready to go. He comes from The Athletic. His name is Rustin Dodd, and he wrote a great article that I dove into the other day, and we were like, we got to get him on. It's basically about wins above replacement dominating MVP voting for a long time now. AJ's going to be so jealous that he's not on today because he loves to debate.
No, I know he does.
He loves it, so we'll play this for him and make him watch it and make him react to it next week. But it's a really good article. I have a bunch of questions for Rustin. We're going to get into it with him right now. Let's do it. Let's bring in Rustin back on FT. We've had him on before. Great writer for The Athletic. Rustin, great to see you. Congrats on a great article. It was great. It was really, really well written and cool to get a few different components to it. So let's start with kind of summing up the most interesting and most reacted to part of the article in your mind to sum up how WAR is impacting the MVP voting these days.
Yeah, so I think we've all kind of seen this if you've followed baseball over the last decade plus or whatever, just sort of how important WAR has become. But if Aaron Judge wins the MVP, and he's going to win the MVP, he's going to be the 6th time in the last 7 years that the leader in baseball reference WAR has won the AL MVP. On the National League side, it's a little bit more mixed, but the trends are basically, if you're not in the top 2 or 3 in WAR, you're not going to win the MVP. And on the one hand, like, you can look at this and say, the voters are maybe better than they used to be, right? Like, we don't see the crazy, Juan Gonzalez wins over Alex Rodriguez, or Mo Vaughn winning over Albert Bell in 1995. We don't see relief pitchers winning the MVP. That used to happen. So on the one hand, like, the voters are more informed. They have more information. Everybody has more information. We have these numbers, but they are getting to the point where I just kind of wondered, are we a little too overconfident in what these numbers are actually saying, right? So you have a guy, he's half win above another guy, that is well within the stats margin of error. So I just kind of wanted to ask the question, like, are baseball writers becoming a little too confident in what these numbers are saying?
What is WAR exactly? Because I look at it, and I say that because the writers who vote, do they completely understand the award? And has it, from your research, has it shifted how they are voting?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I mean, I've voted for the MVP twice, and if you ask me, do I understand what WAR is trying to do? I would say yes. Do I understand exactly how it's calculated? Not quite. I mean, I can give you I can give you like 80% of the answer probably, but even there is some mystery in these numbers, right? So what it's trying to do obviously is it's trying to put some sort of metric on defense that is equal to the metric on offense. So you kind of have a framework for total value, and also obviously it measures base running too. So you got offense, defense, base running. Like in the past, you had a great hitter at shortstop, but he's 30% better than league average hitter, but he's a great shortstop. So how do you measure that against a slugging first baseman, right? So it's trying to like find a framework to measure defense and put that into sort of a total value statistic. And then but there are also other questions, right? So like there's positional adjustments that help with that. So if you're playing shortstop or you're in the outfield, you get more positional adjustment value for the position you're playing compared to if you're a DH or a third baseman or a first baseman. So there's lots of little ways that they tinker with the numbers, but essentially it's trying to find a way to kind of look at the full value of a player. And I think if you look at like Francisco Lindor, right? So he's leading Fangraph or leading WAR at Fangraphs above Shohei Ohtani, or at least he was, I believe, recently. It might have changed after last night, but Ohtani is ahead at Baseball Reference WAR. That's another kind of people wonder like, okay, so if there are multiple WARs, obviously these are calculated in different ways. I think that's confusing to people as well. But essentially, yeah, you're just trying to find a total value for a player.
WAR, I mean, the wins above replacement. I wasn't a numbers guy. I would look at the numbers and I would pretend like I knew what most of them were, if you want the truth. I always just thought, like, listen, if you could ball out, you're a ball player. I remember Dusty Baker saying the best compliment you get is, man, that guy is a ball player. And now there's all these big numbers. Are there any numbers, in your opinion, where you're just like, we don't really need these? Like, I don't even know why this is on there. Or do you believe all these, like, make a difference in, whether a guy wins an award or not?
Well, I mean, so to get back to what Kratz was asking about the way it's changed voting, if you look back in the past, it just has, like in the last 10 years, basically the difference between the leaders in WAR and the MVP has shrunk to basically almost the very, very similar numbers. So what I mean by that is there used to be a bigger gap. So like in the 90s, the difference between a winner and the MVP on average, the MVP, excuse me, is very complicated. The difference between the MVP and the WAR leader, was sometimes 2-3 wins above replacement. Nowadays, it's almost shrunk to like 0. So you basically can't win the MVP unless you're right up at the top of the scales in WAR. And Todd, to answer your question, like I think these are all like valuable statistics. I guess that's not the point of this. The story wasn't to say that the WAR doesn't have value. It's just more about like how confident should we be in these numbers? Like how much stock should we put into them? How many like error bars do we put around them? One of the big things about WAR, with the way they calculate it, is there's a lot more difference year to year in defensive metrics than in offensive metrics. And that's because the way they calculate defensive metrics, there might be 20 or 30 plays over the course of a season that really affect that number. That's a really small sample size. So, some years, a guy might have a great year defensively, in small samples, and it kind of skews the numbers a little bit. And all of a sudden he's got a lot more value. And also, I guess it comes back to like what you value as a player, right? So you look at Francisco Lindor, he gets a lot of his value from base running. He gets a lot of his value from defense. And I think there's part of us that like, we see those numbers and we're like, that's right. Like you should value guys that are, all around ball players, right? I remember I covered Alex Gordon when he was playing, and Alex Gordon didn't always put up like the biggest offensive numbers. And until WAR kind of came around and showed that he was one of the best left fielders in the game and was a really good base runner despite not being, super fast, all of a sudden he's worth 5-6 wins above replacement. And I think there have been a lot of guys like that, kind of the guys that do it all, that it does having these numbers, I think, shows what, people always have said for the end of the time. It's like, oh man, that guy does it all. He can run, he can hit, he can field. He's not elite in anything, somebody like Jose Ramirez, right? He's another great example where, great hitter, but not like an elite level hitter, like an Ohtani or a Judge, but a great hitter, but also does everything. And every year you look up and he's in the top 10 in WAR, right? Because he's 5, 6, 7 wins above replacement. And so I think from that level, like these stats show us what we've always known about baseball. I guess my question was just, is it at some point going to be the WAR award, right? And not necessarily, maybe that's not a horrible thing, but just trying to as writers and as people that vote on this to be a little bit aware of the margins of error and what these numbers really mean.
Yeah, because Shohei's WAR went past Lindor just because of the game last night. It's not like one game, historic game, obviously, but his WAR went up. So was it one game that pushes him over? No, it's the whole season. So I ask you, and I'm not saying you have the vote or not, is Shohei the MVP this year?
Yeah, I think I would vote for him. Yes. I think the other thing that, traditionally when people have voted for MVP, and we've gotten away from this a little bit, I think there was sort of the narrative component, right? And oftentimes that meant, a guy playing for a team and leading a team to the playoffs, maybe leading a team that the expectations were a little bit lower and they had a great season. And, there was you get credit for what the team did. And there was also the narrative component of, Aaron Judge hit 60 home runs, just truly historic seasons, things that we haven't seen before. And I think Shohei Ohtani's season falls into that, right? So he has the numbers. You look at the WAR category, he's there. But I think there is something special about what he's done. And you can ding him for the DH, but if you look at WAR, he's got the numbers that are comparable to a Lindor who's doing it all. And he's got the historic factor of having a type of season 50-50 that we haven't seen before. And to me, I think that puts him over the top.
All right, now I'm kind of switching gears here, but we're talking team-wise. We're talking the Royals here a little bit. They're 2 games ahead in the wild card. You got Detroit and Minnesota neck and neck, and they're both tied. They got 8 or 9 games left. Excuse me. How do you see this thing playing out? Because you can easily, I'm not saying easily, you can see Kansas City being bounced out of this too. 2 games is not a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really comes down for the Royals. They have the pitching, right? But they've lost Vinny Pasquantino. They're trying to kind of patch it together with Tommy Pham, Robbie Grossman, and I think it's going to come down to how well they hit. They have obviously the 2-game cushion, and they have the tiebreaker over the Tigers, despite the fact that they were swept by them last week. So they're, I think, in pretty good shape there. But I think they need to go 5-4 down the stretch, and I think they should be safe. But they got the Giants, and they got the Nationals, and then the Braves. So they're kind of ending on a little NL kick. But I think they have enough to do it. But there's not a ton. Speaking of margin for error, there's not a lot of margin for error for them either.
What do you think about the Bobby Witt, Aaron Judge discussion as we kind of tie that into wins above replacement? And the last thing I wanted to ask you about that ties into this as well is the difference in wins above replacement for Baseball Reference, which uses defensive runs saved. And I was going through their glossary, and they're like, defensive runs saved is the most sophisticated public system available. And then they go over the 8 factors, and I'm like, disagree. I actually think that outs above average tells the story better these days. When I consistently look at the leaderboards for both sides, first off, sometimes you see a drastic difference from a player on one list versus the other. I often, from the eye test, go, outs above average is getting this right over DRS. My opinion, not sure what yours is, but how that also factors into Bobby Witt's WAR currently being 10 to Judge's 10.2.
Yeah, I mean, so I really think there's Aaron Judge is going to win the MVP. That's just I that's just good. What's going to happen? But I think there's a case for Bobby Witt, right? And I think if somebody did vote for Bobby Witt Jr. as the MVP, you look at the wars, you look at the seasons both guys have had, both have historic seasons. I mean, it takes a little bit of a qualification of really looking at the numbers, but Bobby Witt Jr. has had a season at shortstop that really you can look at in certain ways and say nobody's ever had a season like he's had this year. If you look at just like the home runs, the doubles, the stolen bases, the triples, like add it all up. But he's having that season in a year where another guy is having a historic season at similar to likely above average levels. And Bobby Witt gets a lot of his value from defense. And I think just the offensive value that Aaron Judge is the difference maker. But it's interesting that you brought up the Fangraphs does use outs above average. And that's seemingly giving Bobby Witt a little bit of a bump in Fangraphs compared to where he is in Baseball Reference, because he's almost a full win. I think it's like 0.7 WAR behind Judge right now. But again, that's like well within the margin of error. I think if a guy's with 0.5 to almost 1 win in a given season, especially at this time of year, like they're basically tiers, right? It's we should probably think about these less as like numbers on a leaderboard and more like tiers, right? So if you're in the like the 9 range right now, you're in the first tier, and then you need to really look at the other numbers and try to figure out who has been the most valuable player.
Yeah, good call. I like that a lot. It's part of the puzzle. It's part of the equation, as most stats should be. This one weighs heavier, but it shouldn't be like you said earlier. A great quote. Like at some point, it's just a WAR award. Like, oh, who wins it? All right, cool. I think it's great to be able to help tell the story. Like, okay, this is what my eyes are seeing. These are what some of the stats are saying. This is another great stat that's a helpful tool that definitely values defense more too. So, Rustin, great article. Really enjoyed it, and I encourage everyone to read it because there's still layers here from 2012 and the debate back then with Miggy Cabrera and Mike Trout that I want people to just get into and make sure they sign up for The Athletic and read about it, and even more on the psychology of it. So thanks for joining us, dude. Thanks for jumping on, and good to see you.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you. Rustin Dodd from The Athletic on FT. We are talking Tigers Twins next. Let's hit the app that helps you learn another language. So, Erik Kratz, would you like to tell Todd Frazier about Babbel in any form of your favorite second language?
Hoy, viernes, mi favorito día, con mi amigo Todd Frazier. Todd Frazier, cuadrangular campeón, y en Grandes Ligas y Team USA, equipo de USA, mi amigo Todd. Gracias para amor con mi amigo.
That's really good.
Wow. Bueno. Está bien.
He's going.
Yes.
Bueno, he's going. Mas Babbel, what, para mí.
That was very good, man.
He needs more Babbel in his life to learn that second language. The best way to do it is with Babbel, science-backed language learning app. We've gone over the variety of ways where you can learn about it. So let's do it again here. There's a tracker to keep up on a daily basis. There are flashcards. There are pronunciation helpers. There are podcasts. So a number of ways for you to make it easy to learn a second language so that when you're on a trip or you're trying to connect with someone who speaks a different language, this is for you. Make sure you explore the everyday conversations section. That's one that definitely stands out to most. And they've got speech recognition technology to help you get that accent to a Erik Kratz-like level. So FT fam, just for you right now, up to 60% off your Babbel subscription at babbel.com/Val. That's up to 60% off at babbel.com/FOUL. Rules and restrictions may apply. Coming up next on FT, we are going to talk in English about the English D. The Detroit Tigers are in it
You're on a
right
roll.
now. Demand a Tigers logo behind you on the wall next week. Well, unfortunately, Sean, the Tigers are awesome. We're about to talk about them, but they
Never
did not
played.
sign up Todd Father for his services, so they do not get a fancy neon sign.
Yeah.
They do not.
Lo
But-
siento, papa.
yeah, exactly. There you go. That was good. But right now, they get all of our respect. The way that they've come back out of abyss after a trade deadline where they sold, including Jack Flaherty, where would they be with Jack now? They might be like, wait, should we have sold? But pieces come back in the second half. The AL Central starts to wilt, specifically the Minnesota Twins. Add it all up. And Erik Kratz, we've been following this story every damn day. These two teams are tied by record in the standings, yet still the Twins have a one-game advantage. I want to keep reminding everyone about that. There's no game 163 anymore. They won the season series. The Tigers need to now play one game better than the Twins down the stretch. Good news. Scooble, 2 starts next week. Good news. The Tigers still have the White Sox on the schedule.
Solo nueve más diez. Oh, sorry.
We're back
I'm
to
still
English.
back in
English D,
Espanol.
baby.
It's incredible. It's incredible on both ends. This can't happen without what's happened to the Twins. Whatever the reasoning, bullpen, close games, they've had the lead. They had the lead in every game in the Guardians series. The Guardians pop champagne. The Twins have an unhappy flight. But the Twins are still in the driver's seat. I have said it for a while here. This is the Twins. This is the Twins to lose. That's what they're doing. The Twins are losing it. But you can't sit here and go, how are the Tigers, what's the path for the Tigers to play just one game better? The path is all about what you said, the last 3 games versus the White Sox. Rarely can you say in 9 games, I can guarantee you 3 wins. I'm going to guarantee you 3 wins at the end of the season. And I'm rolling like Todd in the money lines. I'm rolling hard in those games. And we actually needed to do this to catch the Cubs in 2018. Ironically, we did it against the Matthew Boyd Tigers. And it was a team you should beat. The games were close. It took like a Yelly 2 home run game, a Ryan Braun 2 home run game. So this last 9 games is going to be exciting, regardless of what's happened the rest of the year. Both teams need to wash out what's happened and go into these 9 games, each individual pitch. If your TV is not set to these games, you don't like baseball.
Let me ask you this. Why? So if they come tied at the end of the year, the Twins move on.
Correct.
That I don't
Well, that changed because here's what happened.
I don't like it at all.
We added the wild card round as a best out of 3, right? That's what
Yeah.
people wanted, or at least some people wanted.
Yeah.
Not a 1 gamer. They wanted a best of 3. You add another wild card team. They're like, we can't do a 163
No, you sure
and
can.
a wild card
You sure
series
can.
and make everyone sit for even longer. That's
No, you
what
don't. You play the next day. Everybody has an off day except that team. You play at whoever had the most wins, like they play at, Minnesota, and that's it. If you come in last place, you deserve to have to fight your way out of the cellar.
No, here's my thing. I'm going to disagree with you guys. We play
Go ahead.
162 games. You play a season series against your division rival. they beat you. So when there's a tiebreaker at the end of the year, oh well, you should have won the season series.
And now I'm going to disagree with you because
Okay.
what happens if you didn't face Skubal twice? You didn't face him at all during those series. I'm putting it out there.
But that's their problem. I mean, you can line your guys up for divisional games. That happens all the
Not
time.
in the beginning of the year, no.
No, but you lost the games. Like, to me, it makes the regular season games need to be super important. This, to me, makes them very important. Let me give you one more example. The Mets and the Braves are about to play. If they're close enough and the Braves sweep the Mets, they can not only pass them in the standings, but they can pass them in the season series. It makes that series playoff worthy in September, even more so than it is.
I agree.
I agree,
but
I like it. I'm like,
you're
already not winning the division, right? In this case, these are two wild card teams. Why do you deserve another game? You already played a bunch of games against each other. That's just my take.
But they're not playing as many games anymore. It used to be 19. Now it's cut down to what, 12 or
13,
whatever.
Division? Yep, 13, which is that nice odd number we're looking for.
We could both go back and forth. I agree with you on some things. I don't on others. But if you're tied, let's go duke it out. You know, if
163s are awesome. I'm just saying.
I agree, but
I'm okay with this because it's a season series. Now the Tigers have 9 games left to play one game better than the Twins. And here's the schedule. The Twins have Boston, Miami, and Baltimore, 3 games each.
Oof.
The Tigers have Baltimore, Tampa Bay, and the White Sox, 3 game each.
Oh.
And 2 of those series include Erik Skubal if they need him.
They're going to need him.
They're going to need him. But this is nicely working out for you and your theory, Scott, because these are 2 division opponents. What if it was the Twins and the Rangers? Like, to me, I think they played, but they didn't play a odd number of series. Like, you didn't 100% figure it out. So the 163, we want to sell this game. More important games need to be sold. And I don't think 163 takes anything away from the regular season, in my opinion. I think 163 just shows that these 2 teams were super, super close in the sense that they're very similar teams.
What happens if all 3 are tied?
There's tiebreakers for that. Of course. There's no games. That's the rule. There are no extra games for these tiebreakers. It goes by tiebreakers that have to do with how the season played out.
It's going back to travel ball. Let's see. Oh, well, you scored 11 runs and you gave up 6 runs.
It's about records, though. It's about records. But I get what you're saying. I get it.
But
here, let me try and offer you a compromise because this is something I've wanted to see. You've got the complainers on the divisional side saying, I'm getting the bye, I'm sitting for too long, right? We make fun of that, and we've talked about that a lot. Can we cut a day down? Can we have 2 days instead of 3 for the wild card where one's a doubleheader day? So you play game 1 on Thursday, right? You play game 2 on Friday, and if game 2 ends with the series tied 1-1, you play one more right after that.
Nope.
I would bring it old school. I mean, bring it back.
That would
bring
be
it
sick,
back
and
to
that
what
cuts
we
a
do.
day
Doubleheader in the playoffs?
What we doing?
Huh?
That'd be sick.
A doubleheader in the playoffs. You got 30,000 people waiting outside to see if the game ends, so they clear the stadium, and then they bring in 30 new thousand people.
Yes. You want to bring buzz? How do nightclubs bring buzz?
Yeah.
They'll be half empty, and they keep half the place outside, and they let them in slowly but surely. You have all these people sitting there like, yo, I got ticks for game 2. I'm watching game 1 in your ballpark village of some sort at your local establishment if they don't have that. And then if game 2 is happening, it'll be a few hours later, and weuld pop in and we'll watch that.
A 1 and a 7 at action, Johnny. Plenty of time to get everybody out, get everybody in.
The teams are going to be exhausted. You're not going to get the best baseball. That's the time of year.
I've never heard Kratz talk about exhaust. Like he's never made an excuse. He's making an excuse.
So
now.
weak. Get an IV, dude.
Yeah, really. God almighty.
Don't need it. Don't need
How
it.
about a Huel? Take a couple Huels.
Get energy.
Right.
Oh.
So let's finish with this. Tigers have been the best team for the last X amount of time, however you want to slice it up, right? They've been thriving for a while. You guys see the Tigers or the Twins now? Like, this is the update. People want to know on a daily basis. The Tigers about to shock the world and get into the postseason now? I say yes.
Yes. I'm changing I will be the first person that said, stop, let's stop talking about it for the last 5 days. Well, now we're here. Tigers get in.
Yeah, baseball gods have spoken. The Twins cut a ton of payroll. They slashed their depth, including their pitching, heading into the year. They were not set up to make trades at the deadline for some reason. And all of a sudden, you get what you deserve, which is fans freaking out the entire year and waiting for this moment, and it's happening.
This is the biggest series for them, though. This is huge.
The Orioles?
No, the
Orioles and Tigers, you're saying right
yeah,
now?
I'm saying that's the monster series for both of them.
They're gonna lose tonight, and they're gonna win the next two.
Who is?
The Tigers. They got Burns tonight. He's gonna shove.
He hasn't
almost at
pitched
free
well in a
agency
while.
time. He was good last time though, but yes, he's.
I don't even
no?
think he was that good last time either.
He
Okay,
was.
but
To
then-
his standards. To his standards.
Sure, but then it's Povich and Suarez after that, and they're gonna smack them. So that's my take. We'll see.
Hey, you don't say smack on here, okay?
Why?
I'm just kidding.
Because Kratz isn't here for your Friday
I
smack.
wish he was.
He wants to smack you so hard.
I'd like to take his face and I'm telling you right now,
Give it a big smooch.
Kansas City, man, it's going to be tough.
But Kansas
San
City's in.
Francisco just plays. I know they have nothing to play for, but they took 2 or 3 from Baltimore. Maybe even should have swept them. Oh man, that KC.
Yeah, but the Royals are good. They're more clear of these two. So they're okay.
I didn't say they were good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think the Royals are out?
You don't think they're good?
I said I never said they weren't
yeah,
good.
they're not going to collapse. I think this.
I mean,
is
yes,
well, you-
Todd, one time. Yes, one time. Say who you think's going to make it.
Detroit, Minnesota go in. Kansas City pops out.
No.
Oh,
You really feel that way?
Todd, I
We
love.
have to wrap. We have to wrap. Go ahead.
Dude, the
Wrap it
Royals are
up.
2
Wrap
games
it up.
clear of the Tigers and the Twins. No chance. No
Okay.
chance.
Hey,
Wow.
did you think Ohtani was going to hit 50-50?
Of course. Wait, keep this going for 2 minutes for the YouTube crowd. So
Oh boy.
the Royals schedule here with 2 games clear. I don't know what the season series for all those are.
San
Maybe
Fran's
someone
taking
smarter.
2 out of 3.
Okay, but still, they're
And then
2 games clear.
Atlanta's going to sweep.
Woo. So you think? And then what about the Washington series?
They'll get 2 out of 3 there.
So then they're going to be 4-4 heading
2
into the
and
last
7.
series.
They're
4
2
and or
They're
sorry.
either going to go 2-7 or 3-6 in their last 9.
Wow. You buying that, Kratz?
Quiet.
I'm not
Kratz
on it,
isn't going to
but I
say a
have the
word
same.
because he's a Kansas City guy.
Dude, I think the
I have
Royals
the
can.
same thing going on
What?
the National League. I'd picked the Diamondbacks to be the team that gets ousted. And who's
Yeah,
playing
number
hot?
one.
I know they're playing the Reds. But the Braves are getting hot. The Braves have done it to the Mets before. I have
That's
a
why
tough
the
time
Diamondbacks
picking
are
against
good,
the
dude.
Braves.
Because those 2 teams still beat each other up. The Diamondbacks play the Padres to end
Oh.
the season, and the Padres are going to be in cruise control nicely.
Padres got
Set
the
in that
Dodgers
first wild
and the
card.
D-backs. 6 left after the White Sox. Wow. Oh, my Lanta.
I'm just saying it's really hard to make up significant ground at this time of year. It takes massive collapse. We don't even have this as a topic every day on our show if the Twins don't lose like every day for the past 5 weeks.
Whew.
Dude, this was done. We were like, oh, AL wild card, it's 3 teams. We'll see how the seeding goes. It's
No,
the
no, no.
Twins, the Royals, and the Orioles. So anyway, thanks. Very interesting. Let's get some picks from the YouTube crowd. And if you're in that crowd that watches later on, right, we're live 1 to 3 every day. But if you're working or just can't watch until 5 or 6, I know there's a crowd there that always says hello. Drop it in the comments. I want to know. What do you think's going to happen? Who's getting in?
Or if you're a Twins fan and you just can't watch anything right now. Oof.
Man, there's a great like 20-something minute video yesterday on the Foul Territory YouTube page with Aaron Gleeman slicing up exactly what the problems are in Minnesota.
He was in. He's in. He knows it.
He's in. He is on top of things. All right, so coming up next, we will do That's What He Said. We'll hit Counsell comments. We'll also talk about Taijuan Walker for a minute. Here we go. We got That's What He Said? Oh, no. We're getting right to our next guest coming up. Ty France is almost ready. I love the prompt show-ups today.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Punctual? Is that the word? Punctual or prompt? Or is it the
Punctuality.
same thing?
Prompt.
Yeah. I was late to something this past weekend. It was a good excuse, but my friends were like, yo.
Reliable.
Yeah, I was not punctual. But Ty is. He's ready right now. Ty France from the Cincinnati Reds joining us. Great to have you on, Ty. How you been, man? How's life with the Cincinnati Reds these days?
Life's been good. No complaints. You know, it's a good group we got here. It's a younger group, but the energy is awesome. Baseball's been fun. So really enjoying my time here.
Have you ever heard anybody when you say, "Oh, how you enjoying your time?" You're like, "Oh man, this is terrible."
It sucks.
I mean, inside he might be like, "God, I can't wait to go home." I'm just kidding, dog. I'm just kidding.
That daggone Skyline chili. That's what he's pissed about. He's like, I just don't get it. I just don't understand how you're going to put Skyline chili with my pasta. So he's still trying to figure that out. So I'm sure that's where Ty's at right now.
Yeah, still trying to navigate around the city, but I haven't made my way to Skyline yet. But I've heard about it.
You've been to Jeff Ruby's yet?
I honestly haven't had much time to get out and about. We've been on the road a lot since I've been over here, so still trying to figure out the ins and outs of Cincy.
Yeah, it's walking distance from the ballpark. You get your butt over there for the best steak you'll ever have in your life. I'm telling you right now.
And he takes care of the guys.
If
He's
you like
great
steak,
with the players. Got some nice little table set up. Todd Father knows
No
Mr.
doubt.
Ruby.
Woo.
Yeah, it is highly recommended. Hey, can I ask you first off about the last series here with the Braves and what you saw from them? Braves are a team that comes into the season looking like one of the top World Series favorites. They lost like half their team of superstars. So what do they look like from your side right now?
They swung it. They swung the bats. They came out and they hit. Also doesn't help when you're got to go up against Chris Sale, but they were impressive. I know they had a rough series against the Dodgers, so they came in and they swung the bat well.
Mm-hmm.
You see them being able to take this rest of the season, or do you feel like it was something that they kind of took advantage of situations? I mean, they hit all the home runs. Yeah. Y'all got some homers hit on you. There's a track meet out there.
Yeah, they weren't cheap homers either. They got them. So, I mean, if they swing the bat the way they did, they got a good shot.
I got one for you. I mean, these guys will make fun of me. They take it too far, but actually, no, you're on my side here. How good is Elly De La Cruz, and should he be a top 3 MVP guy in the National League in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, he's a special player. I've been very fortunate. I've been on 3 different teams, and I've had the opportunity of playing with, Fernando Tatis Jr., Julio Rodriguez, and now Elly. And just to see, the progression that he's made throughout his career so far. When you got a guy who can hit 30 homers and steal 70 bags, like that's impressive. So, I know he's still got 8 games left to work with, but one of the best things about him is he shows up every day, and he's a true pro. He goes about his work. I know he's only 22 years old, but the way he handles himself, he's very mature for his age, and never complains. He just goes out and plays the game hard. And when you get a guy like that on your team, it rubs off on everyone else. So he's got my vote for sure. But he's a special player.
So should he be in the MVP candidates, like MVP discussion? I get it. The season he's having, 64 bags, all that stuff. But the team's not really in the playoffs. Is that something that, in your mind, as an active current player, that it should go into it? The most valuable player could be on a team that's close to last place in their division.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like you said, being a part of a team that's making a playoff push and, World Series contenders, all that, but what he's done for this team, regardless, it takes more than one guy to become a playoff team, but what he's done for this team alone, he should definitely receive some votes. I know he's going up against Ohtani, Lindor, Ozuna. There's a lot of good players in this league who are, pushing for playoff spots, but what he's done just himself to help out this team, he deserves some credit. Obviously it's going to be a long shot, but he's done a great job for this team.
All right. Well, how about Shohei? Shohei and what he did last night. What's your not instant reaction because it happened about 12 hours ago, 15, 18 hours ago. What's your reaction to what you saw him do, finishing off a historic season, but what he did in that game last night?
Yeah, I mean, he's a unicorn, man. What he's able to do out there on the field, and he's just swinging the bat right now. But yeah, he has the ability to control a whole game, even if it's just with his bat. And you saw it last night, going 6 for 6 with 3 homers. There's no one in the game like him, and once he gets back out on that mound, it's a whole different beast. But I was fortunate and unfortunate. I had to play against him the last 4 years in the ALS, but getting to watch that firsthand and just how special of a player he is and how unique he is. I'm not surprised by what he's been able to do. It's been fun to watch.
Talk about how Kratzy's been there. I've been there, from leaving a city that you loved and adored in Seattle, and now going all the way out to the Midwest here. It's got to be something that you kind of, it's sad and it's in one point, and the other it's like, man, now I got to start all over again. Talk a little about time now. You moving from Seattle to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, my time didn't end the way I would have liked in Seattle, but just starting over and being able to basically push the reset button. The team's done a great job of welcoming me. I feel like I've been a part of this group all year. And the ballpark, being able to play in a hitter's ballpark, has been a breath of fresh air for sure. But yeah, just kind of, I don't know if I fully processed the fact that I've played probably majority of my career in Seattle, and just reminiscing on all the good times we had there, the good memories, making the playoff run, the All-Star game, stuff like that. It was a lot of great memories there, but at the same time, I was very excited when I got the call saying I was coming here to Cincinnati, because I know the history behind the Reds organization and just kind of how DB ran things, and talking to guys throughout the league that have played here, that they love their time here. So I'm definitely excited. It showed in my play. I've been playing a lot better since I've been here. So excited for this the next chapter.
You text any of your boys back in Seattle, be like, I know y'all played in this park, but this park is really nice every single day. Like, how many texts back and forth have gone to your boys back there?
Yeah, I still keep in touch with a good handful of them. I built a lot of good relationships over there, and it was a lot of the same core for my entire time there. So made a lot of good friendships, and still talk to them and let them know, hey, there's, the grass is greener hitting wise elsewhere, just so you know.
Hey, what were your thoughts on, why it didn't turn out well for them this year? That team has had a ton of talent, definitely hitters, but also, of course, I would say one of the better starting staffs that I've seen since I've been following the games. So, I know it's been a month or two now, but how much disappointment do you think there is with not being able to capitalize with a staff like that? And now they've gone through some firings with Service and with Brant Brown before that.
Yeah, it's definitely was a whirlwind. There's a lot that goes on over there, and a lot that goes on over the course of 162 games. But I mean, like you said, they got one of the best staffs in baseball, pitching staffs, and it's. The game's getting harder every year, hitting wise. These guys are getting nastier and nastier, and I don't know what it was about the offense this year in Seattle, but hitting was tough there. Not to make excuses or anything, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Otherwise, who knows? I probably wouldn't be in this situation, but. It's just how the game goes. It's part of it. Unfortunately, they're going through it all year, and they're going to have to figure it out if they want to make playoffs.
Tying that into the Ohtani conversation from earlier, did you think that there was a chance they were going to go after him, or Maybe I kept mentioning a Soto, since that's obviously a cheaper 1-year option, but they've got a lot of talent to be able to trade at the prospect level. Did you think in the offseason, were you following what was going on, that the Mariners were maybe going to add some other big time bat to the party there?
Um, not particularly. No, there's a couple internal conversations that were had that, I mean, trading Gino, trading a couple, of the money guys away. They basically had to subtract to add. So, yeah, we kind of got a hint early on that there wasn't going to be a big splash.
Let me ask you this. I've been through struggles. I know Kratzy's been through a lot of struggles in the game. You think of J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez, how good he was. And then, all of a sudden, it's last year, it's kind of been like so-so. It's a year, I know if you talk to him, he thinks he could do better. Talk a little about the struggles he's had and, how hard this game really is.
Yeah, I think, and I'm not going to speak for him because I don't know entirely what he's going through, but the kid's 23 years old, and there's a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of weight on his shoulders, and he feels like he's got to carry, an entire city. And it's especially, when the team's not going as well as it should. It eats at you. It's hard. This game's hard. Hitting's hard. He's definitely one of the superstars in the game. So, and it's been, well deserved. But when you constantly feel like you're letting, not only your teammates down, but an entire city down, I can only, imagine mentally how hard it is. So, he's gonna be just fine. He's shown the last couple of weeks that it's still in there. He's still the same old J-Rod. So, it's just a matter of time before he gets things clicking again and gets back to his old self.
I don't know what that's like. I struggled and nobody really cared. So that's way different. The pressure that he has, the pressure that he has on him and the city and all that stuff. The All-Star game last year. I want to hit on what you said about the offseason. You're still on the Mariners when these moves are being made, and you're watching it, and you're reminiscing back on what Cal said at the end of the offseason or at the end of the season. What were those conversations like between you and your teammates in the offseason where you're like, wait a minute, like we were a bat short and now we got rid of 40 home runs? Like, not saying anything against, Jorge, bringing another guy in, anything like that. But what were those conversations with your teammates like over the text thread, over, team thread?
Yeah, no, I mean, we were definitely excited when we found out we were getting Polo and, when Garv signed there, we knew they're great players. We were very excited about getting those guys. But, like you said, removing 40 homers, and not only just 40 homers, but, Gino was glue in that locker room. The fans loved him. We loved him. So there was just a lot that went into it. And it was just a whirlwind of an off season. Like, we didn't know whether to be excited or be upset. Cause at the end of the day, there's not really, you can't control anything that they do. You just have to kind of go out and handle your business and, take care of your career. But yeah, I mean, there was definitely conversations where, we were confused. And, we were just trying to figure out what they were trying to figure out. So we never really got on the same page. And, there was some frustration, but at the end of the day, you just got to go out and play baseball.
All right, I got 3 quick hitters for you, maybe even 2, since we're banging on time here. All right? Who's the best smelling teammate on the Reds?
Best smelling teammate? Nick Martinez has some good cologne. He's always wearing it.
Yep.
It's always like
100%.
Yeah, he's never smelled bad. He's always, I think it's Louis Vuitton or something, but he's got a good cologne.
Sounds more expensive than what Todd can afford, so he doesn't.
No, hey, listen, don't cheat me. I had one. That's what I wear too. I wear Louis. Go ahead, Scott. Give it a smell. Yeah, let's go.
His baseballism shirt smells great.
With the baseballism shirt.
Nice.
Holla at your boy.
All right, 2 more, Kratz. What do you got?
All right. Who's the worst smelling teammate?
The worst smelling. There's no one I've noticed where I'm like, yeah, you need to shower, dude. Like, there's
All right. What's your welcome to the big leagues moment?
My welcome to the big leagues moment. So I debuted in 19 in San Diego. Tatis had just gotten hurt, and so they moved Manny over to short. Kinsler was playing first. Kinsler was playing second. Haas was playing first. Hedgie was catching, and I'm standing at third, and I'm just looking around the infield, and I got 300 million to my left, 180 million across the diamond. Kins has made buckets of cash in his career, and I'm the young guy on the field. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like I do not belong on this infield right now. There was that one, and then I remember we were playing the Dodgers at home, and that year when the Dodgers came into town, there was like 80% Dodger fans in the stadium, and we were facing Kershaw. I grew up watching Kershaw. Big moment in the game. I think it was like the 5th, 6th inning. Guys on second and third. I work a full 2 count, and I'm super, super excited. I'm like, I'm going to be the hero right here. And he threw a curveball that bounced, I think, halfway to home plate, and I swung. And I was just lost. I was like, what just happened? Like, this is the big leagues. If this is the big leagues, I'm screwed. So that was my other welcome to the big league moment.
That's good.
That's incredible. Quick note before you go, man. Thanks for coming on. Ty France over his last 39 games since 8-5. What's that? September 5th? January, March, whatever it was.
August.
8-5 is August.
August 5th.
We're going way back.
Is batting .304, 42 for 138, the 10th highest mark among National League batters with a minimum of 125 at bats. Build off that, big dog, and keep doing your thing, man. Congratulations. Tell Larry Herms thanks, and we'll talk to you soon.
And let Todd Father be your agent maybe too, if you want.
Talk to me.
or work with your agent.
Come on out. Come visit.
Let's go, kid.
Let's go. Love that. Thanks, Ty. Awesome to see you, man. Good catching up.
Good to see you guys. Appreciate you having me.
You too. Appreciate you. Finish strong. Ty France, Cincinnati Reds on FT. Love it. This is good. So let's do a congestion check. This congestion check is brought to you by Navage, Erik Kratz's favorite twice daily routine. He loves himself those salt pods, which are 99% pure saline and drug-free, part of the everyday routine that makes Erik Kratz sound clear and non-snory.
Does it get rid of that nasal drip in the back?
That's the thing.
That's what I need, because that's why I'm coughing so much.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, Kratz, just give us a line on Navage so Todd can give you a grade today on 1 to 10 how you sound.
I can't tell. You don't even need it twice a day. After the first 2 weeks, just once a day. Once a day, it'll clear you out. The first 2 weeks, you gotta get into it. You'll notice a difference, and then you'll get into a routine. Once a day, we won't have any coffee Todd, or otherwise known as Todd Coffee.
I can't wait. It's in the mail. I hope so.
It is.
Once I get it, I will be talking about it all day on here.
I'm thriving with it. It unlocks and flushes mucus from those nasal passages. So go get after it, FT fam. You get yourself an extra little something when you go to our site, Navage.com/FOUL. So you can get yourself a Navage starter pack, a nose cleaner with batteries included, 30 original salt pods, all you need to get started, plus a cleaning kit as a free gift with your order, only by going to Navage.com/foul and using promo code FOUL. That's NAVAGE.com/FOUL. Make sure you smack that promo code FOUL.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
I miss That's What He Said. I love quotes. I love breaking down quotes. I do. I love when we get to look at quotes or listen to quotes and then say, so let me tell you what they really said. Okay. So we have Craig Counsell, manager of the Chicago Cubs, talking about the season. You're kind of summing up what's gone on.
Mm-hmm.
What's one word you'd describe it? And here's Bruce Levine. Is it Levine or Levine? Either way, he's
Levine.
Bruce. He's well known out there. He said, Counsell unplugged before Thursday's game. We have to get better. We should be building 90-win teams here. That is the standard. That's what you need to be in the tournament. From that perspective, we always have to go. Levine.
My biscuit. He always used to get me angry, so I called him Levine. I remember back in the day.
Was he getting on you?
He would be fun. He's a little quirky. I'd be like,
Oh,
okay,
he is. Yeah.
Levine.
He's character.
Mean Gene Levine. And, I just made that last part up.
I like it. Do you want to hear Craig Counsell too? And then we'll react.
I would love to.
Erik Kratz's former manager. Go.
I mean, I think the message sent really is that, look, there's a big gap. I mean, they're ahead of us by a lot, and it's a talented team on and off the field. It's a talented team, but there's a big gap, and we got room to make up. There's no question about it. And so that makes it, frankly, that makes it daunting. They've been good, man. I mean, for the division, I mean, I would say that about the other teams too, right? They've created a gap the last 2 years in the division. So, yeah, we got room to go, man. Like we got work to do for sure.
He's talking about his old team, the Milwaukee Brewers, stomping on the rest of the division right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is not what the Cubs drew up for 2024, Kratz.
I love what he said about on and off the field. He's talking about to me, I felt like that was a little bit of just a message. Like, and I'm not saying to front office, I'm not saying to I'm talking about what the players truly are bought into. He was there last year. It's not like he's like 3 years removed from Milwaukee and he's looking at the talent going, wow, this person on the Brewers is better than Cody Bellinger. Wow, this person on the Brewers is better than, whoever. He's saying that, like, on and off the field, this team plays together. They're ready to go. They're focused on what needs to happen to build a team. I mean, the Brewers have built an entire team in the bullpen on Devin Williams and the DFA guys. Like, all those guys were available to the Cubs, and the Cubs bullpen for the last 2 years has had struggles, and they haven't been able to bring guys in to help this team, let alone, foster a lineup. We talk about all the time on here, hey, you got to spend more. Cubs should be spending more. They should. But with that comment, to me, I feel like Craig, while he has impeccably great-looking hair, it's unbelievable how his hair color never changes, he kind of was calling some dudes out, and maybe the organization needs to listen to him.
Maybe he's a little upset too, it's a sting. I shouldn't say upset, maybe just a little stung just because he used to be the manager there. He's a dude that knows how to build ball clubs up, and now he's in this position where he's not going to make the playoffs. It's like, this one stings a little bit, especially a first-year guy who's trying to put his best foot forward and kind of prove why, he deserves that contract. And I think it hurts a little bit. I know it hurt me inside. And it's okay. You're the manager. You can call out whoever you want. Just know and understand that, these guys are listening too as well. So I think it's constructive, but I also think this one stings a little, especially the first year, seeing what Murph's doing over there.
Off the field, Kratz, are the Cubs partying too hard every night after their games? I'm joking. Joking.
Kratz didn't party.
Nobody does crap. Nobody does crap. These guys don't go out.
I don't know that.
We go out for them.
Hey.
My thing too, he also said it's daunting. He didn't just say there's a significant gap. Like, it's daunting to see how much farther ahead they are. And that's why I meant the whole off-field stuff, because like, he saw it last year, and now he's sitting here going, whoa, it's crazy how, like, much of a gap there is as far as whatever he was talking about. preparation. How are these players being brought up from the minor leagues and being prepared to play a role on the big league team? All that stuff.
Mm-hmm. There's a show also that goes over this multiple times per week. It's really good. It's called Northside Territory. You can check out their YouTube channel if you want to listen. They're going to start to get a little video involved as well. You'll see their faces soon, like we've seen with Hammer Territory. But you can also check out the podcast wherever you get your pods. Just type it in, okay? And let's move to, yeah, there you go. Northside Territory right there. See those little lines that move? That means they're talking. Multiple episodes weekly, so type it in. All right, let's bring it back to go over Aaron Boone's comments. Todd's going to take a little just quickie cough. So you read this tweet, okay, from Brian Hope, and then you react to it, Kratz. Just give him a second.
Hey.
I like to take people behind the curtain.
Listen,
okay?
When I got it, I got it.
Clear it, baby. But hold up. Kratz, you take it.
Kaufman.
Give it a quick mute.
Brian Hope, Aaron Boone said, Clay Holmes has been snake bitten, in quotation marks, by mistakes, but the Yankees are counting on him to help this postseason. Reality is he's still really good. His stuff is really good, and he's going to get big outs for us. Okay, so he's snake bitten. So you're saying a guy who's your closer that gets a lot of ground balls is unlucky? He has to get big outs for him. You can't just get this guy out of the, you can't just not throw him. But you made this bed. You knew what you had in a closer that gets ground balls. Listen, he's going to strike out one guy per inning. He's going to average a strikeout an inning. But you have to have a defense that has crazy range to be able to help out a ground ball closer.
Yeah, snake bitten. Is it?
What are you seeing? Because you see a lot of Yanks.
I just see his two-seam action. Kratzy, you can, as a catcher, you understand there's two-seamers that go down and there are two-seamers that go, I guess you could say east to west, go across. Yeah. And I think when he's going well, and Kratzy, you could correct me if I'm wrong. If he's going well, I think it's going down. He's got that downward depth. When it's not going well, it's going east to west and it's falling. He can't find the zone. And then it makes that slider that much easier to pick up because, if he can't find that, I might as well sit slow and react because he's not throwing it for strikes as much. And that's just my opinion for what I'm seeing. Because when it's running, going east to west, or west to east, from his vantage point, it's got some movement, man, and he doesn't know where it's going.
He doesn't. And that was really his issue, is he didn't know where it was going. He reined in his control, and he became the closer for the Yankees after leaving the Pirates. Shocker, the Pirates couldn't keep a guy that ended up being an all-star. But anyway.
Exactly.
Here's the evaluation of it. If you have a sinker that runs this direction and a slider that runs this direction, it's two pitches that move the same depth, just opposite directions. And that's really tough for a hitter to react to and to be able to differentiate. His right now looks like what Todd was saying. His sinker is running, so it's not sinking. His sinker is running, and his slider is going this direction, and it's getting more depth. Think of the home run that Justin Turner hit against him, I think, in the 8th inning just the other night in that 1-0 game. Ended up tying it up. If he can get his sinker back on this plane where it's going here and it's exact opposite of his slider, or his slider getting the exact opposite plane of his sinker, I think that's when he has the most success, because it's so hard to differentiate because it just goes and it just splits apart. Now he has pitches that are splitting this way, and it's easier for hitters to make harder contact while he is snake bitten, making harder contact.
That's good. That's a really good breakdown. Good stuff, guys. All right, let's swing back with picks, locks, and a little game previewing to do with a big weekend. And this is the second to last weekend of the season. Yeah. Crazy. Yo. All right, so let's talk NL wildcard for a moment here, since the show flew by. We had great guests. New York Metropolitans were playing some ball yesterday. They also beat up on Taijuan Walker. I know we're going to get to a little bit during our locks, but more for just the look at the NL wild card. The Braves took it to the Reds yesterday. The Diamondbacks took down the Brewers. So we didn't really have movement. Everyone's staying pretty level there yesterday.
Yeah, there's not a lot of movement, but this is time when the Braves have to start making moves. When you win a game like that, you're like, wait a minute, we didn't move at all, and we just absolutely pounded out 17 hits. That can be a little frustrating too. They didn't lose, but they didn't gain any ground. Only got 9 left. Needed them all.
Mm-hmm. The Phillies lost to the Mets, and you might be like, well, it's fine. I mean, the division's going to be there soon, whatever. There's 2 things in play. One is a bye in the first round, okay, which they should be fine. They're, I think, a couple games still clear of Milwaukee, but also home field advantage. Like if the CS ends up being the Dodgers and Phillies, obviously you want that home field advantage if you're Philadelphia. And it's close right now. Are they tied again in the standings, those 2?
Yeah.
I did find they are tied, same record. I did find the tiebreaker. So the Phillies own the tiebreaker from the season series. So if they finish with the same record, it goes to the Phils.
And the Brewers. They own the season series. The Brewers need to sweep them in the last series. Phillies own that tiebreaker. So they're a little bit farther out ahead. But,
Okay.
I mean, the records are tied right now.
Yeah, Milwaukee's at 88-65, and the Dodgers are 91-62, and so are the Phillies. So it's an uphill battle for the Brewers to climb out of first round bye world, or to get into first round bye world. That's looking like the Phillies and the Dodgers. And the Dodgers, I think, especially are into it. I mean, obviously, the Phillies, it's going to be great. They get to set up the rotation, the whole deal. I just think it's going to be fascinating because they've been playing wild card ball.
True.
Now they get to get that first round bye. So
You have a little smirk. You have a little smirk on your face.
Yeah, I do.
Because so many players have come out and said, we don't want that bye. We definitely don't want the break. So many players have come out and said that.
It's going to be so controversial if a team with a
It's
bye
not.
goes down. It is because players are
If a
going.
player
and
says it.
managers are going to bitch about it.
If players say it, not if managers,
so
if
good.
players say it.
It's going to be so good. Can't wait. Leo, BetMGM locks, but first your free game of the multiple days. Friday, you get the White Sox and the Padres. Sunday, you receive the Mariners and the Rangers. We like to tell it to you straight. The Mariners and the Rangers not making the playoffs, but you get to bet on that game. So you can watch it for free if you have a BetMGM account and you are logged in and it's funded. Let's do our locks. So we look back, money bags. Also from yesterday, I went Mets. They got a dub. Kratz yesterday.
But
No, I lose it.
You lose it, and then AJ won 1-1. So
how can 32 and 54 up 1100? I would never. That's just crazy.
he likes to live dangerously.
Yeah.
Yeah. You, on the other hand, are 24-8, up $5,180. So the fact that it's not being covered by every news publication on the planet is not right. They're not doing their jobs.
Luck be a lady.
They don't want to win money.
money.
Mhm. I heard Todd's cooking up something special today. So what do you have
Never
for us?
seen
Chef?
it before.
First time I'm doing this. I mean, first time, long time, man.
Mhm.
I'm going to do a parlay just because, sometimes when you're on a roll, you can mix it up because you're not going to lose that much money. So I'm going with, I think, 4 guaranteed wins.
Yep.
Think about this. I got the Yankees who are playing the A's, which are really bad. I'm taking the Yanks money line. I'm taking the Braves money line who's playing the Marlins. They're really, really bad. I'm taking the Padres who are playing the White Sox who are really, really bad. And the Dodgers are at home against the Rockies who are really, really bad.
Wow.
So I'm going 300. This is at plus 327, if I'm not mistaken. 300 to win 981 smackaroonies. Nothing's guaranteed in life, but these 4 games should be automatic W's. We'll see. Baseball's fickle sport.
You know what they call that? A heat check, right?
Yeah.
When you're nailing threes and you're like, I'm just going to keep shooting until I miss.
I'm tailing it because it's Todd.
Mhm.
I'm tailing it because it's Todd, and everybody should be. I'm going with Charlie Morton over in the strikeouts. Over 6.5 strikeouts. It's paying plus 110. He's hit it. He's hit that mark in 6 of his last 8 starts.
Wow.
And he's done it 3 of the last 4 times he has faced the Marlins.
There you go. I'll go Diamondbacks, Brewers,
Nationals, not Marlins. Nationals. Sorry,
Marlins. Oh, Nationals.
they're playing.
Yeah. Diamondbacks to beat the Brewers, minus 130. It's Gallen versus Ray. I'll take Gallen. It's like a playoff game. I mean, it's not totally, but it's close for me.
Scotty.
Gallen knows what's at stake here. Diamondbacks are getting close, but you got to wrap this thing up. It's a good team, but I think the Diamondbacks are a good ball club, and
Of course, I agree.
they had a really, really bad Rocky series. They did themselves
Not a favor.
no, they did themselves, not a favor. But anyway, there you go. So those are our locks. Good luck on your picks tonight if you're going for it, and also this weekend if you're going for a home run prop. Because the only place where you should be picking your home run props is with BetMGM. I'm not just saying that because they're our friends. You can bet for a shot at $50,000 in bonus bets just by placing a $10 wager or more on any player to hit a home run on a weekend day, which includes a Friday. And if that player hits a home run on that day, you can win the $50,000 daily prize in bonus bets or a share of the prize with every other winning bettor. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Be right back to Slap Hands on a Friday. Big news, too, for one of our FT fam members. Yeah, I'm going to wait to announce this news. So I'm going to hit the questions real quick and see what we've got. Are the Tigers the 2024 Diamondbacks? Asks Sean.
I would. I hate these answers because you're damned if you do, damned if you. I don't think they are.
I don't either.
I think it's a great story, and I think they're opening up a lot of eyes. It's a team you don't want to face right now, and that's for darn sure. They're playing well. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk it? Them Tigres doing their thing, man. I hope they get in. It would be a great story as well. You never know.
Beginning of the year, we were like, Tigers could be sneaky. And then we were like, nope, not yet. And now we're like, they are sneaky.
I think I picked them to win the division, but there's that.
Did you pick them to win
I
the
got to
division?
look back at my notes
Good
here.
for you.
I got to look back
at it. But I mean, they were disappointing. No, they're not, because think about who the Diamondbacks had. Diamondbacks had Zach Gallen and Cy Young candidate for a few years, Rookie of the Year. You have Ketel Marte, who's an MVP candidate. Like, you have guys that are in that lineup and in that pitching staff and they made moves at the trade deadline to bolster their team. The Tigers didn't bolster their team. I still think the Tigers can make the playoffs. I have flipped the script. I thought they weren't going to make it. Now I think they are going to make it, but I don't know that they have what the Diamondbacks had last year.
Mm-hmm. Tigers are going to make the playoffs, and the Twins are going to miss the playoffs. Right?
Tigers are going to make the playoffs. The Twins are going to make the playoffs, and the Royals are out.
No freaking way.
Don't say that.
Stop
the Royals
it.
are going to win the World Series. They signed Will Smith. Will Smith has done nothing the last 3 years
I forgot.
but win the World Series. So the Royals are winning the World Series. Plus money, BetMGM. Give me that cash.
You're right.
I placed futures bets last night. My dad and I.
What'd you do?
We threw some money down on the Royals to make the World Series, the Brewers to make the World Series, and the Mets to make the World Series because woo!
Did you
if
parlay
look at
it?
those lines? No, we didn't parlay anything.
You can't
Obviously,
because you
do
can't
that.
have 3 teams.
But we just saw some openings and said, let's throw a little down right now. Feel like they're being undervalued. Just throwing it out there.
You're undervalued.
Call me crazy.
Sometimes too.
Thank you. If
you're
anything happens,
you're a plus bet.
Thank you. If anything happens on that front, if any of those 3 happen, it's the big bucks.
And guess what?
Yeah,
we're going
big
to
dinners.
Sizzler.
We're going to Sizzler, baby.
Good luck on your bets, boys.
Slap Hands presented today by Teza Slap Pucks. That sounds weird.
Slap them.
There you go. Cheers, baby. Oh, you got the old school Teza.
Oh, baby.
We got the new school, okay? These are the FT pucks available at tezaenergy.com. If you would like to get, oh, look at you, a little bit of FT merch for something to hang up somewhere.
Yeah.
You should also try it out. Energy, focus, no nicotine, no tobacco. That's why they've been big sponsors for us for a long time. We are a big fan of what they're doing. Try and get dip, that bad dip, out of the game.
Yes, sir.
Use code FOUL, 20% off first order there at tezaenergy.com. And lastly, congrats to the Mabin fam. Trent Mabin is going to UT to play some ball. Love it. Congratulations. Dude's a stud in every way. We just saw Cam last week. They were super pumped about it, doing the visits, the whole deal. He's going to UT. He's going to go play at Texas.
It's incredible.
Cam said, proud of you, son.
It was between them and Rutgers, and what are you going to do?
It was not.
No, you cut it out.
It was not.
It was. He told me it was a tough pass.
10-second Kratz hats. Go ahead. What do you got? What's on your head? Quick.
I mean, we had Matthew Boyd on earlier. We got Columbus
God
Clippers.
almighty.
Woo! Some dingers out of that park. Louisville.
Yeah, that worked.
Louisville, what?
Terrible.
Congrats, Shohei. But if you can't get his baseball, you can get one of these. But we'll see you on Monday, everyone. Good week. Enjoy your weekend. Be safe.
Let's go.